Hello everybody, welcome to Everyday Christian and I'm your host Jason. Today we're going to be reading Matthew chapter 16, the Gospel of Matthew chapter 16 from the MEV Bible. So let's get started with verse 1. The demand for a sign. The Pharisees and Sadducees came and testing him asked him to show them a sign from heaven. He answered them, "When it is evening you say it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and overcast. Oh, you hypocrites! You can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the times. A wicked and adulterous generation seeks for a sign, but no sign shall be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah." So he left them and departed. Now I just want to stop there for a moment because I've often heard this misquoted out of context, where Jesus said, "A wicked and adulterous generation seeks for a sign, but no sign shall be given to it." Okay, and some people have used this verse to say that signs and wonders have passed away, and that Jesus said no sign will be given it, and then that's where they stop. But then, because they don't read this in context and teach this in context, this is speaking specifically to the generation with the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the time that Jesus was walking the earth. Okay, now Jesus went on to say in Mark chapter 16 verse 15 onwards, okay, that these signs shall follow them that believe. So evidently signs and wonders were part of the gospel after the generation of Jesus walking upon the earth, okay. And we see in the book of Acts many signs and wonders were done by the hands of the apostles. So signs and wonders God will still do signs and wonders, and using this text here to say that there will no sign be given it, that's taken out of context. Okay. But when his disciples, verse 5, reached the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Jesus said to them, "Take heed, pay attention, and beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees." They reasoned among themselves, saying, "It's because we've taken no bread." But when Jesus perceived it, he said to them, "O you of little faith, why reason among yourselves that it is because you have brought no bread? Do you not yet understand, or remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets you collected? Or the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets you collected? How is it that you do not understand that I spoke to you concerning bread, not concerning bread, but that you should beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees?" Then they understood that he did not tell them to beware of the yeast of bread, as in food, but of the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees. See, Jesus was comparing the teaching of the Pharisees and Sadducees as the leaven that makes the whole batch of bread rise. He said, don't take any notice of their teachings, because once you receive that, it will spread. He wasn't referring to the bread, bread and butter bread. Peter's declaration about Jesus, verse 13. When Jesus came into the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am?" They said, "Some say that you're John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and others Jeremiah, or one of the prophets." So evidently, reincarnation was a big thing in that day, because a lot of people were saying that Jesus basically was the reincarnation of John the Baptist, which was a bit ridiculous because John the Baptist baptized Jesus, and John the Baptist walked around the same time as Jesus. So how can Jesus be the reincarnation of John the Baptist? I mean, use some logic, people. And then they said that he may have been a reincarnation of Elijah or Jeremiah, one of the other prophets. Verse 15, he said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Simon Peter replied, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus answered him, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades shall not prevail against it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." Then he commanded his disciples to tell no one that he was Jesus the Christ. What we see here is that when Jesus said, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who is in heaven," Peter received a divine revelation from God the Father that Jesus was the Christ. It wasn't something that he was told or that he received through other people, of that revelation knowledge. And here we see the important thing of revelation knowledge, where many people will say they believe in Jesus, okay, but they're not saying it based on revelation of a revealing to the heart and soul, to their heart and soul. I could probably pull many people off the street and say, do you believe in Jesus Christ? And they go, yeah. Is he your Lord and Saviour? And they'll say no. And why not? Because they haven't received the revelation from God the Father of who Christ is, who he actually is. When we receive that revelation and that understanding of who Jesus is, it's like, I can't explain it, but just inside, I just know it's true. I may not be able to put it into words, but I know it's real. I know it's true. And that's what happened to me when I got saved. I received the revelation. I was like, this is real. He's real. I believe God is real now. And I had little to no basic knowledge of who God or Jesus was at that moment. It was a revelation. And that is what will carry us through in our Christian life. Going beyond head knowledge, going beyond things that we're just learning, having that revelation revealed to us of who Jesus is. Jesus foretells his death and resurrection. Verse 21. From that time on, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and be raised on the third day. Then Peter took him and began rebuking him, saying, Far be it from you, Lord, this shall not happen to you. But he turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You're an offence to me, for you are not mindful of the things that are of God, but those that are of men. Another translation says, You do not think as God thinks, you think as man thinks. Now, Jesus wasn't calling Peter Satan, okay? The word Satan actually is translated adversary, someone who's adverse. Many Bible scholars believe that Jesus was rebuking the devil for putting these thoughts in Peter's head, because Peter wouldn't have willingly or knowingly called Jesus a liar, because that's basically what he was saying. Because Jesus said, I'm going to be killed, I'm going to be rejected by the Jews, and I'm going to rise on the third day. And then Peter said, no, you're not. Now, who in their right mind would say to Jesus, no, what you said isn't true? Because Jesus already got through saying, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. Peter would not have said that. Peter, in that moment, got the thoughts of the devil in his head. And that's when Satan came in and said to him, that's not going to happen. And Peter verbalised it. And I'm sure that, well, no doubt, all of us at some point, we've had thoughts in our head that come from Satan. And we repeat them out loud. And then afterwards we think, oh, what did I go and say that for? That's not really what I think. That's not really what I believe. It just popped into my head and I spoke it in the heat of the moment. The idea of Jesus being put to death and things like that, that was not something Peter was ready to accept. He did not want his Lord to suffer such a fate. He was probably in that time and mind thinking Jesus is going to restore the kingdom back to Jerusalem and, back to Israel and so forth, and that Jesus was going to rule on earth. Verse 24, then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay every man according to his works. Truly I say to you, there are some standing here who shall not taste of death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. That's chapter 16 of Matthew. I just want to finish up just looking back here where Jesus says, if anyone will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. With the Christian life, there is a lot of denial. We have to deny the flesh. We have to deny the right to get angry. We have to deny the right to get even with people. We have to deny the right to not forgive. We have to deny many things that our flesh, our sinful nature wants to do. Okay, that is part of being a Christian. For us to turn around and say, well, nobody's perfect, we're all at different stages of Christian growth, that is a cop-out, and we'll make an excuse for us indulging in sin and not owning it, okay, not owning our sin. What we need to do is say, Lord, I recognise that what I've done is wrong, and I'm sorry, and I do repent. Am I going to do it again at some point in the future? Only God knows. Right now, I've no intentions of repeating that again or doing that again, and I'll do everything within, by the grace of God, and within and in the power of my free will to not do those things again. That's how I stand. He says about taking up his cross and following him. Taking up your cross is speaking of sacrifice, things that we may have to sacrifice, things we may have to lose out on, people we may have to lose in life, maybe even jobs or opportunities, lifestyles. These things will have to be crucified, will have to be given up as God leads us. For whoever will save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? So you have heard people say they sell their soul, that some people sold their soul to the devil, like Jimi Hendrix, the guitar player. He actually said he did. He died at an early age. He said that he wanted to become the best guitar player in the world, and at that time, many people did think that he was. Okay. There has been talk of people selling their soul and so forth. But the ironic thing is that if a person doesn't get born again and saved, then their soul is going to hell anyway. Their soul belongs to the devil. Okay? If you're not saved, you're not born again, the devil doesn't have to buy your soul. It's already in his hands. Okay? So this business about, I'm selling my soul. So somebody may say, well, if somebody said they sold their soul to the devil, could they still get saved? Well, that's an interesting thing, because just a short testimony here. I was speaking to a woman that I knew at the gym one time, and I was talking to her about God, and she was very resistant first of all, but as she got to know me, she began to soften, and she said to me bluntly, look, when I was a young teenager, I had a baby and I wanted certain things in my life, love and power and all these things. And she actually said to the devil that he could have her child's soul if he gave her everything she desired. Obviously, she was into witchcraft, and she did, and the baby died. Okay. Now, I can't remember for a fact whether it died in childbirth or was stillborn or died after. I think it was while she was pregnant, possibly. And so she held that all her life, and she was like just absolutely devastated and couldn't believe she'd done that. And she said to me, there is no forgiveness for me. I sacrificed my child's soul to the devil. And I said, well, for one thing, the devil doesn't own your child's soul. Children are born innocent. Children who are born innocent, they will go to heaven, okay, as far as I'm concerned. And as far as 48 verses in the Bible can confirm that children go to heaven, okay, because of that state of innocence. I said, as for you, you can be forgiven. And I led her to Christ, and she accepted the Lord, came to meetings I was holding. I haven't seen her for a long time because I no longer hold the meetings, but she got saved. That's in the context of what would it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? What would you give your soul for? Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this reading. Well, I'll be back in the next video for chapter 17 of Matthew. Quite a few of the chapters now are relatively short until we get to about chapter 21. I think, no, 21 is actually pretty short. When we get over to chapter 23 and 24, so forth, they get quite a lot longer. Chapter 24 is very long, so I may do that in 2 parts. I'll just have to see how it goes. Anyway, God bless you all. Have a great day. Remember to pray for me. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a like, a comment, and share with other people as well. God bless you. This is Jason, the Everyday Christian. Much love. Bye-bye.